Who dat to the Who Dat Nation, and welcome to the Dome Patrol Podcast, your podcast for the New Orleans Saints here on the KB Radio Network. And week 12 for the New Orleans Saints is over, and you can look at it, probably season 2, as the New Orleans Saints lose to their division rivals, the Atlanta Falcons, by the score of 24-15. Where do I begin? Where do I start with this team? I am, oh boy. I'm gonna try to keep this as PG as possible. I'm not infuriated. I'm not infuriated to the point where, in the past I used to throw things and punch walls and stuff like that. I'm not to that point. The thing that I'm mad at myself because I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised at this outcome. I'm not surprised that this team is complete garbage. I'm not surprised. And I'm mad because I'm not surprised by that. I'm mad because I shouldn't feel the way I feel. I shouldn't be hoping, wishing, and praying that we beat a team with a quarterback who couldn't even throw for over 100 yards. I shouldn't be mad at that. Well, he did throw for over 100 yards, but he didn't do anything. Desmond Ridder is a horrible quarterback. And the New Orleans Saints found a way to make this dude look like Michael Vick out there. I thought he was Vick. I thought we went back in time. And, no, he didn't run over the Saints like Michael Vick used to. But man, come on, bro. There is no fire with this team. There's no swag. There's no energy. This team is complete and utter garbage. And this team is not going anywhere anytime soon. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but this is the reality. This is what you get. This is the best you can get. This is the best. With this lineup, adding on to the fact that we lost half our team due to injury today, coming off a bye, and we are in deep doo-doo. And you're not about to sit here and tell me that this team can get it turned around and make a push for the playoffs and actually play a good team a la Dallas Cowboys or Philadelphia Eagles or 49er team or even the Detroit Lions, who we play next week, so that'll be fun. No, we not those teams, because they're going to run us out the building. If we can't get past Atlanta, if we can't score a touchdown against Atlanta, you actually think we're going to do something against these top-notch teams? Man, miss me with all of that. This team is complete garbage. I'm sorry, man. Dennis Allen is over. I'm done with this team as long as Dennis Allen is the head coach of this team. Now, let me say this. Do I blame all of today on Dennis Allen? No, I do not. I do not blame all of this game on Dennis Allen, because sometimes it's actually execution. Sometimes players need to go out there and do their job. I can't expect Dennis Allen to call the plays and run the plays at the same time. The players need to go out there and execute. And so I'm not putting it all on him. But what I am putting on him is the fact that he doesn't hold anybody accountable. I didn't listen to his press conference after the game because I don't want to look at him. I don't want to hear his voice, because he never holds players accountable. Now, he'll throw the defense under the bus because that's his squad, but he'll never say anything offensively. He'll never say anything bad against the offense, namely Derek Carr. Derek Carr is complete trash. For all of you Jameis Winston haters out there, please tell me what's the difference here. Please tell me. And the reason I bring this up is not because I'm cheering and championing for Jameis Winston to be the quarterback. No, I'm doing this because I heard and read all the complaints about Jameis Winston. And all that was said about Jameis Winston, Derek Carr is doing the exact same thing. And in some cases, worse. And I don't hear a peep from nobody. This dude is horrible as the quarterback for the New Orleans Saints. Horrible. This man is 45% in the red zone. 45%. That's not going to work. That's not going to get it. You had 4 cracks today in the red zone and couldn't score once. Well, actually, that's a lie. He did throw a touchdown in the red zone today. Unfortunately, it was to the Atlanta Falcons. Derek Carr needs to go. Dennis Allen needs to go. And whoever else is attached to that train. This is embarrassing. This is really embarrassing. Y'all can only muster up 5 field goals today. 5. And this is with your defense getting 2 turnovers. 2 turnovers. Now, mind you, it was kind of canceled out because we turned the ball over twice. And so you take away those turnovers, Saints probably win this game because that's 14 points there. That's 14 points off of turnovers from the Saints. The Saints win 15-10. So technically the defense only gave up 10 points. But on one of those turnovers, the Saints defense allowed the Atlanta Falcons to go 95 yards on the drive and score. This team is giving up. So I'm giving up with them. I'm gonna join the club. I'm gonna join the club. They gave up, so why am I cheering them on? I'm gonna go ahead and give up too. I'm not cheering these people on no more. I'm tired of sitting here on Sunday afternoon, on my good Sunday afternoon, day of rest, and get my blood pressure shot up through the roof watching this team. And we do this over and over and over, week after week after week. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result every time. This is pure insanity. We're doing the exact same thing every week for the past 2 years, and we think we're getting somewhere. I mean, Dennis Allen gets up there every week. Is we're close. Oh, we need to clean up some things here. He's been saying that from day one he was named the head coach of the New Orleans Saints. If it hasn't changed by now, it's not going to change. In the immortal words of Teddy Pendergraft, if you don't know me by now, you will never know me. And this is the truth. I know Dennis Allen by now. He is a loser. He is a horrible head coach. No adjustments today. None. There was no adjustments. I don't know what to say. I honestly don't know what to say other than the fact that this team is horrible. And for all of you Saints fans out there who is wishing that they would turn this around, we just came off a bye week, people. We had 2 weeks to prepare for this game. Well, I'll say a week and a half. I'm going to be fair. I'm going to say a week and a half to prepare for this game. And we couldn't score a touchdown. Not one. Where do you think we're going to, where do you think the change is going to come at? When? At one point. When? Please tell me. Please. Because this is ridiculous, man. This is a horrible, horrible football. This is the worst I've seen the Saints look in the better part of 20 years. Saints lost in Atlanta for the first time since 2017. Since 2017. I'm done. And Derek Carr has never beaten Atlanta. That goes back to when he was a Raider. He's never beaten Atlanta, so that it is what it is. But man, this is ridiculous, man. I did not expect this. I expected a close game. Look, let me say this. I'm not mad at the loss. I can live with a loss. I can live with a loss if you go out there and give it your all. I've said this time and time again. I know y'all tired of hearing me saying it because I'm tired of saying it. I can deal with a loss if you go out there and give your all. I can't deal with a loss when I know you did not leave it all on the field. They did not leave it all out on the field today. They didn't. So that's the frustrating thing. The Atlanta Falcons defeated the Saints today, 24-15. You had injuries, you had turnovers, and there was the inability to get into the end zone. And that was just too much for the Saints to overcome. The loss drops the Saints coming off a bye to 5-6. The Atlanta Falcons improved to 5-6. The Saints lost their top two receivers to injuries today. Chris Olave left the game in the third quarter with a concussion. Rashid Shaheed, he had a thigh injury in I think it was first half or second. I think it was the second half. Tight end Juwan Johnson, he left the game. He took a shot to the head, but he did end up returning. Cam Jordan left the game in the fourth quarter. He had a shin injury. Alante Taylor, he was in and out of the lineup. Jamal Williams, he left in the fourth quarter. Our center, Eric McCoy, he had to leave the game for a little while. It was just, it was a mash unit out there. It was just brutal. It was insulting. It was literally salt in the wound. And then you had Derek Carr. He gave up a 92-yard pick six in the first quarter. And Taysom Hill had the ball punched out at the 5-yard line. We was about to punch it in to take the lead, ending a great scoring opportunity for us in the third. The Saints were able to move the ball, but couldn't get into the end zone as they settled for five Blake Groupie field goals. A 25-yarder, a 52-yarder, a 41-yarder, a 45-yarder, and a 39-yard field goal today. Chris Olave was having his best game of the season before he went out. He had 7 catches for 114 yards. Alvin Kamara, he had 15 carries for 69 yards. He also had 4 receptions for 50 yards. Taysom Hill carried the ball 7 times for 26 yards and had 2 receptions for 55 yards. Derek Carr, he was 24 of 38 for 404 yards and an interception. Now, those 404, those were garbage yards. He got most of that at the end of the game, when the game was pretty much over. In addition to the pick six by safety Jesse Bates, the Falcons scored on a 10-yard touchdown run by Bijan Robinson and a 26-yard reception by Robinson from quarterback Desmond Ridder, who also was picked off twice, both by the Honey Badger himself, Tyrann Mathieu. The Falcons had 396 yards of offense today. 230 of it was on the ground. On next Sunday, December the 3rd, the Saints will host the Detroit Lions, who are 8-3 currently, and this will be the first of 3 consecutive home games for the New Orleans Saints. Today's stats, beginning with the passing yardage for the New Orleans Saints. Derek Carr was 24 of 38, 304 yards, 0 touchdowns, and 1 interception. He had a quarterback rating of 77.1. For the Atlanta Falcons, Desmond Ridder, he was 13 of 21 for 168 yards, 1 touchdown, and 2 interceptions. He had a quarterback rating of 63.3. Our leading rusher today was Alvin Kamara with 18 carries for 69 yards. For the Atlanta Falcons, their leading rusher was Bijan Robinson, 16 carries for 91 yards and a touchdown. Receiving, our leading receiver before he went out with a concussion, Chris Olave, 7 catches for 114 yards. For the Atlanta Falcons, Drake London, 5 catches for 91 yards. leading tackler today was Carl Granderson with 10 total tackles. And for the Falcons, Jesse Bates, the third, with 12 total tackles, plus an interception. Plus, he caused that fumble. Jesse Bates, the third, was all over the place. To be honest with you, both safeties for both teams were playing out of their mind, whether it was Bates or Matthew for the Saints. It was the safety show. They definitely came to play today. Team stats beginning with first downs. Saints had 22 first downs today, 13 by passing, 6 by rushing, and 3 by penalty. For the Atlanta Falcons, they had 25 first downs today, 9 by passing, 15 by rushing, and 1 by penalty. On third down, Saints were 6 for 14. The Atlanta Falcons were 4 for 8. Saints never did go for it on fourth, whereas the Atlanta Falcons went for it on fourth one time and didn't make it. Total plays, Saints had 67 total plays to Atlanta's 62. Total yardage today, Saints had 444 yards to Atlanta's 396. Total drives, Saints had 10 total drives to Atlanta's 9. Yards per play, Saints 6.6 to Atlanta's 6.4. Passing yardage, Saints 296 passing yards to Atlanta's 168. Rushing, Saints 148 rushing yards to Atlanta's 228 rushing. In the red zone, Atlanta was 1 for 2 in the red zone. Saints were 0 for 5. I misspoke earlier. I said 4 times they was in the red. 5. 0 for 5 in the red zone. And in case people don't know what the red zone is, that's between the 20-yard line and the end zone. That's 20 yards you couldn't get. Penalties. Saints had 6 penalties for 50 yards. Atlanta had 5 penalties for 35 yards. Both teams turned the ball over twice. Time of possession, Saints had the ball for 31 minutes and 34 seconds to Atlanta's 28 minutes and 26 seconds. 0 for 5. That is the headline of today. 0 for 5 in the red zone. I don't want to hear about they couldn't move the ball. Obviously, you can move the ball. They were moving the ball at ease. They couldn't punch it in. You either threw an interception or settled for field goals. Or there was a penalty, a holding penalty that threw off everything, or a drop pass or a bad throw that threw off everything, or you ran for 1 yard on first down, and all of a sudden, you know, everything is thrown off. It was just stupid stuff that just throws off this offense, and I can't understand why. I honestly don't get it. Let's go over our grades today. As always, in case this is your first time listening to the show, welcome, by the way. This is how I grade the New Orleans Saints performance every week. We go by unit: offense, defense, special teams, and coaching. We round all those up and come up with an overall grade of today's performance. Beginning with our offense, Saints offense get a D-. And you may wonder why they get a D- when they put up 444 yards of total offense. There was no points to account for them. No points. No points in 2 turnovers in the red zone. It's inexcusable. Inexcusable. I don't know what to say. I honestly don't know what to say. Chris Olave had over 100 yards receiving in the first half, and we couldn't score. We could not score. All respect to Atlanta Falcons. I went through this whole rant for 20 minutes, and I didn't give respect to the Atlanta Falcons. Congratulations on the win. They did what they were supposed to do. But you're not about to sit here and tell me Atlanta's defense is that cold. No, they're not. Obviously, they're not. Because we sliced them apart between the 20s. But all of a sudden, They became the steel curtain when we got in the red zone. No, no, you're not going to make me believe that. Okay, cool. I'm not expecting to score all 5 times, but give me at least one. One would change the course of this game. One. We couldn't do it. D minus. The defense gets a C plus. Defense was holding this team together. Defense is what kept us in this game. The 2 turnovers by Tyrann Mathieu, holding them to 7 points for the longest time offensively. They did have that pick 6, but that wasn't on the defense. And so for the longest time, they held them until the fourth quarter. They gave up 10 points in the fourth quarter. That 95-yard drive was like, oh my God, did they just give up? The defense just give up? But really, you got to sit back and think, they were tired. That defense was tired. They've been holding this team down, giving the offense opportunities, and they couldn't cash in. And so I got to be fair with them. I give them a C plus. Special teams gets an A. Blake Grupe kicked 5 field goals. I don't want to hear about that one he missed late. He was tired. The man's leg was about to fall off. He was kicking field goals the whole game. And so, yeah, he gets an A today. Coaching gets a D. They get a D. Dennis Allen did not get these guys ready to play. You had 2 weeks. You had a whole bye week. What was the game plan? Yet and still, I have no idea what the identity of this team is. Are we a run team? Are we a passing team? Are we a defensive team? What are the New Orleans Saints? I don't know. And the scary part is, I don't think they know either. They get a D. Coaching staff. The overall performance of today against the Atlanta Falcons, the Saints gets a C minus. And I was shocked by that number. I really wanted to give them lower than that. But they get a C minus today. This is embarrassing. It really is embarrassing as a team, as an organization. They should be ashamed of themselves for this performance today. Coming off a bye. That's another element of it that kind of sticks in my craw. Y'all had ample time to prepare for this team. And this is what you give me. Yep. Who gets to sit in the corner and who gets the game ball today? Today was kind of rough. Today was tough. Not so much for the game ball, but who has to sit in the corner. Starting with the game ball, we get 2 game balls today. One goes to Blake Grupe for his 5 field goals. The other ball goes to the Honey Badger, Tyrann Mathieu, for his 2 interceptions today. They are the MVPs of this game. I could probably give a third to Arthur Smith for the head coach of the Atlanta Falcons for keeping us in this game. But I'm not going to go there. Yeah, Tyrann Mathieu and Blake Grupe, they get the game balls today. Who has to sit in the corner? Derek Carr. Derek Carr, he almost, well, the game was lost, whatever, but he really could have messed up the game even more with that fumble when he was holding the ball like a loaf of bread when he ran for the first. I was happy he ran for the first, but he got the ball just out there like, somebody please come hit it out my hand. And that's exactly what happened. The grace of God let it bounce into, I think it was A.T. Perry, or was it Juwan Johnson? I can't remember who recovered it, but thank God they were there, because that would have killed the game right there. But the pick 6 was just unexcused. I don't know what he was looking at. They showed that replay about 3 or 4 times, and from 3 or 4 different angles, and I have no idea what he was looking at. All you saw were red helmets. What were you looking at? That ball had no chance of being completed to a New Orleans Saint. And yeah, Derek Carr, please, sir, have a seat in the corner. So, yeah, people, once again, New Orleans Saints fall to the Atlanta Falcons 24-15, bringing their season record so far to 5-6, below 500. But if you want hope, I'll give you a little hope. We're tied for first. Actually, more accurately, we're a half a game behind first because we lost to Atlanta. Atlanta owns first place. They have beaten all three teams in the division. They're undefeated in the division, and they have the tiebreaker versus the Saints. So they are in first place. Yeah, this was a big game. This was a game you needed because once again, the football gods looked out for you. Uh, Carolina lost, which wasn't a threat, but they lost. Tampa lost, which was your other closest threat. So if you could have beat the Atlanta Falcons, that would have gave you a comfortable 2-game lead in the division. Where some wiggle room, where you can actually afford to lose a game or two. You can afford to lose this game against Detroit coming up, which I win or lose today, I still felt they would have lost, or going to lose, should I say, against Detroit. That's a better team. But now, now you need help. Whereas you would have controlled your destiny moving forward with this win today, but now you need help. You need to, well, not so much because you play Atlanta again. You still played Tampa again. You play Carolina again, and all this here, and theoretically you have a weak schedule going forward, but we're a weak team, so there's nothing to cheer about with that. Yeah, I am very disappointed with this team, with this season. Never would I have imagined the Saints would be 5-6. Never would have imagined. I didn't think the Saints would lose 6 games total this year. I did not think we would have. I thought at worst we were going to lose 4 games this year. With this schedule, with this team, the way it was set up. And here we are, 5-6. God help us all. How do you feel? That's what I want to know. How do you feel? Do you think the season's over? Do you think I need to come step back from the ledge, relax and take a breath, and we will be okay or whatever? And I don't know. We probably will because this division is trash. This division is trash. I mean, the team leading this division is below 500. What more evidence you need? So the Saints are going to be in it to the end. So that part I'm not worried about. But it's just the fact that, my God, man, you actually lost to this team in this fashion. Whatever. I asked the question, did I? Yeah, I did ask the question. How do you feel? How do you feel about this team moving forward? Let me know. You can contact the show by email, kbradiopodcast@gmail.com. You can also look me up on all social media platforms. Just search for the KB Radio Network. Search for the KB Radio Network channel on YouTube. Subscribe and like this video if you don't mind. Don't forget about the 5 stars, the reviews, and sharing this show. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, wherever you are currently listening to the Dome Patrol podcast here on the KB Radio Network. Everybody, thank you for joining me for this recap of the Saints versus the Falcons, where the Saints lose 24-15 on to Detroit. Let's see how next week works out. It's not looking good, people. Anywho's, I'm down in the dumps, but guess what? I'm still going to be screaming, "Who dat?"